Hello everyone, I am Left, and before I start this video, I found something deep in my closet today, and I just had to show you guys. I have to show everybody this work of art. So everyone behold the dinosaur sculpture I made as a first grader in elementary school. Isn't he beautiful? I don't even remember what kind of dinosaur he was supposed to be, but here you go. Now let's actually start the real video, okay? Actually, I lied. I have one more thing to talk about to you guys before I actually start the real video. I've created a Patreon page. I've had people talk to me before and tell me that they want me to make one of these because they said they would like to support me with donations on there. So I went and made one. It's right here. It's right here on the screen. You can see there's 3 different tiers on there. There's one that's $5, one that's $10, and one that's $20. Now, if you get, like, say, the $10 one, you also get the rewards that were in the $5 one. So feel free to do that if you like what I'm doing here and you want to support me in a more special way that is not ads. If people who become patrons on there, they get a special role on my fan Discord server and, like, I don't know, a shout out at the end of every video by name, as well as other cool stuff. Click the link down in the description to go to my page and check it out. So today's video is going to be on Paladin Strike, and it's going to be about the top 4 heroes that I think are the best for new players to rank up with. I'm level 18 now. I'm in gold rank, which I feel like I should be in a higher rank, but of course you can only rank up once per week. But yeah, anyways, I've been playing a lot of the different heroes, and I've really decided on these 4 as the best ones to rank up with for new players who've played other MOBA shooter games like Overwatch and Vainglory and Arena of Valor and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first hero that I think is good for ranking up and newer players to deal damage and get kills is Maeve. Maeve is an assassin champion in this game, and she's got a lot of really cool things to her kit. Now, first of all is her basic attack. The unique thing about this is that her basic attack is it throws 2 throwing knives in a figure 8 pattern, which actually has really good range. Now, the obvious downside of this is that you can throw them accidentally around a target that's right in front of you, but with careful aim, you won't end up doing that. The good thing about these knives is that they cut through enemies and can damage as many people in a line as are lined up. So Maeve is very good for just like spamming the point right at the beginning of the game, I feel. And that ties into her second ability too, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Her first ability is kind of a dash. If you use it when there's no enemies near, it just kind of dashes in the direction that you target it. But if you use it with an enemy near, she dashes to that enemy, strikes them, deals damage, slows them, and jumps away to where she was before. This ability has a relatively low cooldown, and it's really good for comboing, I feel. Now, her second ability is called Prowl, and on activation, it gives her increased speed, and it replaces her next auto attack with a Fan of Knives attack in an area circle around her that deals damage to all enemies around her when she auto attacks. Now, the cool thing about Prowl is that when you are in it for that duration, your throwing knives reload faster. So you can spam all your throwing knives away, use Prowl, and then by the time you're done with Prowl, you'll have 3 more throwing knives and your dash back. So the last thing about Maeve is her ultimate. It's kind of a support ultimate. It doesn't deal any damage. I think it's called Midnight. All it does is it completely reduces all the enemies' field of view temporarily. Like they see these pink eyes on their screen, and they hear Maeve's voice, and everything's dark. Personally, I hate when I get hit by this, and I would hate to get hit by this at any time. Like, honestly, it's one of the most dangerous ultimates in the game, even though it doesn't kill people. So Maeve is a really well-rounded character in my opinion, and if you have good knowledge of playing assassins in other games and like cooldown management and when to go in, when not to go in, being able to spot when you get a multi-kill, being able to spot when you're just going to get stunned if you go in, Maeve is probably the hero for you. Now, the next hero I want to talk about is Cassie. I talked a little bit about her in my first Paladin Strike video, so this one's going to be a little bit brief. Cassie is one of the heroes that you own right off the bat. She does consistent high-ranged damage if you can aim. Every auto attack for her shoots 3 crossbow bolts, and they all deal good damage. Then she has her dash reload, where she rolls in the target direction and instantly recovers 1 ammo. Really good for outplaying enemies that are trying to chase you, like assassins or tanks. And then lastly, her ult is actually like really useful for support purposes or initiation purposes. So her ultimate, as you know if you play this game and watched my other video, her ultimate just sends her Falcon or Phoenix, I don't know what it is, to the nearest enemy and stuns them. This is really good for starting fights. It's really good for, like, say, an overtime point after yours or their payload push fails. It's just a really simple and well-rounded ultimate. So Cassie is very point and shoot, and she does very good damage for how much skill it takes to learn her. So in my opinion, she's probably the best hero on here for new players to play if they want to deal damage, carry games, and win. Now that one was a bit brief, but let's go on to the next one, Androxus. Androxus can be bought in the shop. You don't own him initially, but with your new player login bonus, you will get Androxus for free after a certain amount of days logging in. Now, he's a really unique champion, and let me tell you why. His first ability is probably my favorite thing about him because it's a counter. It's for about 2 seconds in front of him. He funnels all incoming damage into him, and it does nothing to him. After that 2 seconds, he throws a big green wave in the direction that his funnel was facing, dealing 75% of all of the damage that he sucked in to the enemies that it hits. I've gotten like quadra and pentakills with this thing before because some poor enemy ruckus used his ult right into my counter. Androxus really allows for a lot of like outplays and skill plays, and he's just got a really high skill ceiling because of his first 2 abilities. Now let's move on to that second ability. It's called Nether Step, and it has 3 charges. Now, if you're a Vainglory fan, you will know that this ability is almost the exact same as Reza's Troublemaker, except it doesn't deal damage. Now, why this ability has 3 charges is beyond me. This ability gives Androxus so much mobility and outplay capability and dodging capabilities, and it's just very, very good. You don't want to waste this at the start to get to the point quicker because it doesn't actually make you go that much faster. You use Nether Step to get behind that Kinessa that's about to shoot you. You use Nether Step to get to the flank of the Ruckus that's using his ult before it goes off, etc. Now, lastly, I want to talk about his ultimate. Androxus's ultimate may not be the best. It's just 4 big shots that deal 850 damage in an area at once, but it charges so fast. If you run onto the point, reflect a bunch of damage with your counter, you'll already be at like 95%. It's crazy. I've gotten like 2 Androxus ults in the same fight before, and that's why I put Androxus on this list, because he's got a lot of really good outplay potential, and his ultimate charges so fast. Like, if you want to just rush the point, get all the kills immediately, if you can get a little bit lucky, Androxus is the hero to do that with. Lastly, let's talk about Lex. Lex is a hero that I held off on buying until like about 2 days ago. He just kind of seemed boring to me, although I was kind of frustrated that I kept being killed by him. I always felt like, wow, this guy just never runs out of ammo. How does he always keep hitting me? Like, does he ever have to reload, or come on? So now that I actually own Lex, I know why he's good. He's really mobile. His second ability is a combat slide that it's just a slide in the target direction, gap closer, escape, whatever you want to make it. His auto attacks are very fast firing, and they deal a lot of damage at mid to close range. Now, what makes him really unique is his first ability. It's called In Pursuit. It means that anything that is in his immediate range gets auto-fired at. So it's basically just auto aim, but his attacks do a little bit less damage using In Pursuit than basic attacks. In Pursuit has a crazy low cooldown, and it makes Lex very, very annoying to a team that's not grouped up. I haven't even talked about his ultimate yet, which is good in its own right. Lex's ultimate has a lot of multi-kill potential. Basically, in a huge cone, he executes everybody that is under 65% health while yelling something about how nobody escapes the law. But you'll see it a little bit in this video, I'm sure. His ultimate is really useful for clearing off points if there are a lot of enemies like grouped up behind shields or grouped up on healing potions or totems, etc. So Lex is very mobile. He's an incredible duelist because of his first ability. He's got dodge potential. He can outdamage people up close. Now, if the enemies are very, very grouped up and tank heavy, that's when you don't want to be playing Lex. You'll run into a lot of trouble there because your auto attacks and your in pursuit, they don't pierce through people. So you want to be able to single out those squishy targets and be able to take them down. Now, that's actually the case for Maeve, Androxus, and Lex. 3 out of the 4 heroes I talked about today were flanks. And that's no coincidence. I feel like the damage and the flank heroes are much better for new players to play than the tanks and supports. I personally completely have avoided playing supports at all so far. I don't have a single game as Grok or Ying or Pip or any of the support heroes, actually. Kind of ashamed to admit, but I'm also not ashamed because I feel like in low elo, if you've just gotten the game, you have a better chance going all carries than having a support and having carries that don't know what they're doing, if you know what I mean. Tanks are kind of in the same boat, although there are a few tanks that offer really good playmaking potential. For example, I think Ashe would fall into that category. She's very fun. But in the end, I would say stick to the damage and flank heroes until you've reached at least higher silver or gold or platinum tier in this game. So that's going to be it for this video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something useful, and I'll see you all later.